It finally happened. The call that fans across the WNBA had been dreading. A controversial no call in the dying seconds of a crucial game between the Indiana Fever and New York Liberty may have just exposed a serious officiating crisis in the league. And now, a WNBA referee has reportedly been removed following what many are calling a rigged moment that handed the Liberty a win and left Caitlin Clark furious. Fans outraged, and Fever head coach Stephanie White on a tirade. The footage is everywhere. Clark clearly gets fouled. No whistle. Game over. Liberty win. There's a prevailing notion that WNBA officials, referees, they are biased against Caitlin Clark. And it's not just preteen girls and their mamas who believe WNBA officials are biased against the Roo from Waterloo. But the backlash, just getting started. Let's break down this explosive controversy and what it means for the league, the fans, and the face of women's basketball. With less than 3 seconds on the clock and the Fever trailing by 2, Caitlin Clark had the ball in her hands, the moment every basketball fan dreams of. She rose for a game-winning shot, and then disaster. Natasha Cloud reached in and made clear contact. The ball was knocked loose. The buzzer sounded. Game over. But where was the whistle? That's what Clark, her teammates, and thousands of fans wanted to know. In real time, Clark erupted, arms thrown up, shouting, "You gotta be kidding me." This wasn't just a missed call. It was a moment that potentially altered the outcome of a high-stakes game. Video replays showed what appeared to be a blatant reach-in, and when the Liberty themselves posted the clip in celebration, fans swarmed the comments calling it what it was. It looked like the New York Liberty just got the biggest help from the WNBA referees to beat Caitlin Clark and the Fever. A robbery. Refs win, refs win. You didn't win anything. The refs gave it to you. The internet exploded, and so did Clark's coach. Coach Stephanie White didn't hold back. In her post-game interview, she unleashed what might be the most brutal critique of WNBA officiating this season.
What bias operator Chiramosia? To not like one year stay I could flip this to tidy so work off word jacket play. So this is sort of spitting that swoop the head to words.
It's pretty egregious, she said, referencing not just the final play, but a growing pattern of bias and inconsistency. She highlighted a -31 free throw discrepancy over recent games, a number that's not just a stat, but a statement. White wasn't just defending her player, she was calling out the entire system. And it wasn't just about Clark. White made it clear that Indiana, as a team, was getting disrespected. We're not just chucking threes, we're attacking the rim. The disrespect has been unbelievable. For a coach to use that kind of language publicly, it means behind closed doors, frustration has hit a boiling point. And she wasn't done. She even questioned whether the league's process for challenging referee decisions works at all. That's a coach who's lost faith in the system. The moment the buzzer sounded, the real game began. Not on the court, but across social media, newsrooms, and fan forums nationwide. Replays of the no call on Caitlin Clark spread like wildfire. People weren't just upset, they were furious. Fans from both Indiana and beyond flooded the WNBA's social media accounts, demanding an explanation. And it wasn't just your typical post-game frustration. This felt different. There was outrage, but also disillusionment. Many viewers had tuned in specifically because of Clark. What they saw instead was a league that seemed incapable or unwilling to protect its biggest star. That night, comments poured in. "You just lost a fan. How is this allowed? This feels rigged." And the heat didn't stop with the WNBA. The Liberty's own social media team came under fire for posting a celebratory clip that clearly showed the contact. With the controversial ending to the Fever vs. Liberty game, many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem, and they are demanding answers and they are demanding changes. Instead of rallying support, their post turned into a digital war zone. Fans called them out. "You didn't earn this. The refs handed it to you." Amid the chaos, reports started to surface, unconfirmed at first, then gaining traction, that the referee in question had been removed from duty, fired, suspended, reassigned. The details were murky, but the implication was clear. The WNBA had been forced to act. The pressure was too intense to ignore. Whether the ref was officially let go or simply benched, the public perception was that someone paid the price. But was it enough? Because here's the truth. Removing one referee doesn't fix systemic failure. It doesn't erase the bad call. And it doesn't rebuild trust with fans who now question the league's integrity. The WNBA is at a tipping point, fueled by record viewership, growing media attention, and new superstars. But if fans feel the games aren't being called fairly, all that momentum, gone. Caitlin Clark's reaction to the no call was instant and real, and exactly what fans needed to see. She wasn't petulant, she wasn't over the top, she was passionate. She turned to the referee, disbelief on her face, and said what millions were thinking, "You gotta be kidding me." Those 5 words summed up the state of WNBA officiating in that moment. Her frustration wasn't just about one play, it was about fairness, accountability, and respect. And it hit hard because Clark doesn't complain. She plays with edge and emotion, yes, but she rarely singles out officials. The fact that this call triggered such a visible reaction speaks volumes. She knew it mattered, her teammates knew it mattered, and so did fans. But what's even more impressive is what happened next. Clark didn't spiral. She didn't let the moment overshadow her professionalism. She continued post-game interviews, she supported her teammates, she stayed composed, focused. That kind of maturity, especially for a rookie, is rare, and it's why this controversy will only grow her following. Fans don't just love Clark for her logo threes, they admire her composure under fire. And that's the contradiction the league now faces. Clark is the WNBA's biggest marketing asset, but she's being treated like just another player on the court. That disconnect is now glaring. The WNBA needs to decide, is it going to protect its stars and elevate the product, or continue to let outdated officiating drag it down? This wasn't just a missed call, this wasn't just a single moment of silence from a whistle. This was a seismic shift, the kind of moment that exposes a crack, and forces a league to choose. Evolve or be exposed, because the WNBA now sits at the most critical intersection in its modern history. The Caitlin Clark foul, unwhistled, unacknowledged, has become the symbol of a much larger problem. And how the league handles this moment could define its future. Let's make this clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's a revolution. She's packed arenas, tripled TV ratings, and brought millions of new fans to the WNBA. Her games are watched like NBA primetime. Her jerseys are flying off the shelves. She's not just part of the league, she is the headline. The growth of the WNBA has a Clark-sized engine behind it, so when she gets fouled on a game-deciding play, and the league refuses to call it, refuses to explain it, and refuses to protect her, that's not just a bad call, that's a betrayal of momentum. Because fans are watching, and they're not just watching Clark, they're watching the league. New fans who tuned in because of her story, her skill, her stardom. They're not long-time diehards. They're not going to stay loyal if they see injustice, if they sense bias, or if they feel the product is rigged. And right now, that's exactly the danger. The message the WNBA sent by not addressing this controversy immediately: we protect our refs more than our stars. And that message will have consequences. This is why the league must act, not just by benching one referee. That's reactive, that's band-aid thinking. The WNBA needs a structural change in how it handles officiating. They need a system where blown calls are reviewed and acknowledged publicly, where referees are held accountable with real consequences, where transparency isn't a suggestion, it's the standard. Because when your star gets hacked with the game on the line and millions are watching, the worst thing you can do is pretend it didn't happen. It was one of the worst refereed games I've seen. In a long time, the NBA has an official last 2-minute report. They analyze and publish final-minute officiating decisions in close games. That kind of transparency builds trust, even when calls are missed. Why doesn't the WNBA have the same? If it wants to be treated as a major league, it must operate like one. It must own its mistakes, fix its systems, and protect the players who are growing the game. And this isn't just about Clark, it's about all players, rookies and veterans. It's about credibility, integrity, competitive fairness. Because if players start feeling like the whistle isn't consistent, or worse, that some stars get protected while others get punished, the culture of the league collapses. Players lose faith, fans lose interest, sponsors pull back. It's a domino effect. But here's the truth, this is also an opportunity. The WNBA is being handed a wake-up call. The world is watching. The growth is real. The audience is bigger than it's ever been. But with that spotlight comes scrutiny. The league can either rise to the moment, make real changes and show it's ready for prime time, or it can shrink from it, stay silent, and let the credibility crumble.